Hello, everyone. This is part two of the Civil Rights Era lesson. So we will continue where we started last time. We will be looking more at the biographies of the people involved. Let's start with Martin Luther King Jr. Born in Atlanta, Georgia on January 15th, 1929, King became involved in the civil rights movement after Rosa Parks was arrested. The many events that Martin Luther King Jr. took part in were the Montgomery bus boycott from 1955 to 1956, the Atlanta sit-ins from 1960 to 61, the Birmingham campaign in 1963, the March on Washington in 1963, where he made the famous I Have a Dream speech, the Selma campaign in 1964, and the Chicago Open Housing Movement in 1966, and finally, the Poor People's Campaign of 1968. While in Memphis, Tennessee, in support of black sanitation workers, King was assassinated on April 4th, 1968. King was arrested in Birmingham, Alabama for the 13th time, out of 29 total. When he was arrested and in jail, King wrote his famous letter from a Birmingham jail, which includes the following paragraph. I must confess that over the past few years I have been gravely disappointed with the white moderate. I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in his strive for freedom is not the white citizens' counselor or the Ku Klux Klaner, but the white moderate, who is more devoted to order than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice, who constantly says, I agree with you in the goal you seek, but I cannot agree with your methods of direct action. Sometimes you will see these words ring true today. Next, we have Malcolm X. Born Malcolm Little on May 19th, 1925, he joined the Nation of Islam while in prison. The Nation of Islam was a black nationalist movement that combined Islam and black separatism, which is why you see he is X, because he got rid of the Little name, which he considered a slave name. He preached black pride and helped replace the terms Negro and colored with black and African American, which is why you don't hear these words anymore. So his views. His views could be separated into two different periods, his Nation of Islam period and the post-Mecca period. During his Nation of Islam period, he viewed white Americans as inherently racist. He saw no purpose in equality, but wanted to pursue black excellence. He openly criticized Martin Luther King's nonviolence and civil rights movement and felt that black Americans needed to fight back. Then we have his post-Mecca period, which began after doing the Hajj, which is a pilgrimage to Mecca, which is obligatory for all Muslims. So after taking the Hajj, Malcolm X moved away from his separatist views after witnessing Muslims from all races existing in peace together in Mecca. He believed black liberation can be found in Islam and African unity. So there began to be tension with the Nation of Islam. Malcolm X became disappointed in the Nation of Islam after learning of the leader, Elijah Muhammad's multiple affairs and children of many women. He felt Muhammad was being a hypocrite and began to speak against it because having affairs and multiple children with people he wasn't married to was against Islam. Malcolm X became infamous in response to the assassination of John F. Kennedy, calling it a case of the chickens coming home to roost, which means he got what was coming. So these tensions continue to rise, leading to Malcolm X being assassinated on February 21st, 1965, by the Nation of Islam. Next, we have the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party was founded in 1966 by Huey Newton and Bobby Seale. The party's original purpose was to patrol African American neighborhoods to protect the residents from acts of police brutality. The FBI would devote a lot of resources to investigate and jail members of the Black Panther Party through its program COINTELPRO. The Black Panther Party does have a rich legacy. They instituted 35 programs to help Black people who struggle with poverty, several of which can be seen today, such as free medical clinics, the Head Start preschool program, free breakfast for all students, and legal aid. One of the most famous Black Panthers was Angela Davis. She was accused and arrested for the murder, kidnapping, and escaping police. She famously represented herself at trial, which is something that we typically advise people not to do. Her trial was highly publicized. Even John Lennon and Yoko Ono, that's John Lennon of the Beatles, wrote the song Angela about her. She won her trial despite the odds against her. Very famous. Not many people actually win trials that they represent themselves in. And finally, this is not the entire story of the civil rights movement. There are lots of stories, but these are a good place to start. So just remember to get your completion stamp and work on the next assignments to look deeper into the civil rights movement. See you next lesson.